Great afternoon. Great afternoon. I hope you all are having a fantastic Saturday. It is beautiful here in Atlanta. It is festival weather. And I actually would have been out there at this festival that's happening, the Dogwood Festival. But my daughter decided that she was done wearing diapers. And so now we are out here um, potty learning alongside of her, which is really amazing. She just all of a sudden decided she was done with it. And so here we are. I'm just trying to get all of my tech moving forward. So I'm running a little behind because if any of you have toddlers, you know that they can be so unbelievably unpredictable sometimes and can run into all kinds of little haphazards. So if you are here on Instagram. Hello, hello. I see a few of you in here coming in. Take care. Welcome, welcome, welcome in, welcome in. If you're in here and you've got a friend, tell them to join too. This is going to be great. Today's session, where are you, LinkedIn? Don't let Instagram beat you, LinkedIn. Facebook, tuning in. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're here. I want to give this session specifically for my mission-driven leaders, my nonprofit leaders, my social impact leaders, my do-gooders, those of you who are committed to seeing the world be a better place than it is, especially right now where it can feel really yucky at this moment, if we're honest. But this session is for you. So today I am speaking on how to ensure your powerful impact survives beyond your tenure. How to ensure your powerful impact survives beyond your tenure. And this is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart, something that I'm really super passionate about from all of the work that I have done over 15 or so years that I have been stepping up and standing out as a leader in different spaces. And so I'm really thrilled to talk with you about this topic, about how we ensure that our impact survives our tenure. So if you are new to me, I am Nkoyo Efyong-Lewis, founder and chief impact strategist at Ibanisong Solutions, LLC, where we help social impact leaders turn their audacious ideas into actual initiatives that generate revenue, engage stakeholders, and transform the world. We are on a mission here at Ibanisong to leverage the power of women and feminine energy to ensure that our future generations have a much better world than what we are living in right now. And I lead a brand, the Audacious Women Lead Audaciously. That's my thing, because it is so imperative to me that we are intentional and deliberate about being audacious in the pursuit of our vision and our beliefs about what the world can be. That we audaciously show people how you can move mountains rooted in purpose, redistributing power, and redefining professionalism so it actually keeps up with the changing nature of our world. And how many of you know that the world is changing? There are a lot of futurists that will talk out there, and one of the things that they share is that the rate of change, so let me back up, right? Everyone always says change is constant, right? Like, oh, anything that's constant is change. But what we have not talked about as intentionally and deliberately is the fact that the rate of change is accelerating, which means that our ability to adapt to change has to continue to grow because every day things are moving faster. I mean, ChatGPT, if you've played around with that thing, the way that it can give you a response in seconds should be eye-opening to the fact that things are moving, technology is advancing. If you're a millennial like me, a geriatric millennial, I guess, I'm not going to take offense. It's a privilege to live long. But you remember a world where there were no digital devices. You remember a world where there weren't laptops or cell phones in your pocket, these powerful machines in your pocket. And so we have seen, even in the span of our lifetimes, how quickly life has changed. I have two of these Generation Alpha, I think they are. They're who's next after Gen Z. And the way that they are moving and thinking and connecting and navigating and figuring things out is mind-boggling to me, at the speed at which that's happening. And so, because I believe so much in making sure that we are creating futures that are expansive and exciting, I am committed to helping more and more leaders figure out how to dream their biggest dream, pursue their biggest vision, and actually find the concrete steps and strategy to make sure it happens. And I believe that you're absolutely going to do that. If you're tuning in, you probably are already doing that. And so the question is, what will you do? How will you ensure that your powerful impact survives beyond your tenure? And this is a really important question. As someone who has studied a lot of social movements, who has been transformed by the civil rights movement and the things that were able to happen, and is watching sort of the rolling back of a lot of the wins that were gained in that time, I am over passionate about making sure that we don't make the same types of mistakes again. And as leaders right now who are literally in this very moment shaping the future, we are living history. It's important that we are not just making change that lives and exists while we're here or while we sit in the seats of power that we have, but that we are ensuring that that change endures generation beyond generation, and that each section of future leaders has the ability to pick up from where we left off and run the race seamlessly. And so we help individuals and organizations in the social impact space, where those are nonprofits, benefit corporations, social enterprises of any form, think about leadership and growth strategy with integrity, innovation that drives impact. And so we offer a suite of things around leadership development, executive coaching, one-on-one support for high impact leaders who are looking to take their leadership to the next level, as well as ongoing training, board governance, development, and support for nonprofits, benefit corporations who want to make sure that not only does each leader feel empowered and equipped to be audacious, but that their organization is functioning as a whole in an audacious way. And so we do that with some strategy and support, and also with my personal favorite thing, succession planning. Or disruption-proof planning, whatever you want to call it, leadership planning, like really making sure that you have a model that is sustainable and that you have a plan to make sure that that model can continue to move beyond the time that you're sitting in the seats. So, how are you ensuring that your leadership and the powerful impact that you're making will continue beyond you? And I ask this question, I really want us to push here, because a lot of times as leaders, we think a lot about how we get into the seat of power and how we move into having a lot of influence. And we don't think as much about how we leverage that influence or that seat of power while we're there. And definitely very little about what we do with it, how we manage our departure from that seat of power, right? A lot of times people don't want to talk about the end of things, but in everything, there is a season and there's a cycle, and there is a point and period in time where your leadership will sunset, whether that's voluntary or involuntary or a fact of life. If you're growing as a leader and if you're intentional about that, there will be times where the spaces that you have held power will become too small for you, and it'll be time for you to elevate to something else. One thing that I also know from working with a lot of leaders is some people enjoy different types of problems than others. Right? Some people love the startup phase, the beginning, the building of an organization, the getting it off the ground, the getting the buy-in and all of the excitement that comes with that. And then once the business gets stable, it kind of grows beyond them, or it's not an issue or a problem that they enjoy solving. And so if they stay in it, the organization can stagnate. And so that's why sometimes you'll have founders find their replacement and bring somebody else in to take the organization to the next level, because that's not their thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want to really make sure that we are normalizing growth and seasons and the moving away from things. Because I think we have a culture where, you're not supposed to quote unquote quit. But sometimes you have to leave things for it to grow or for you to grow. And I think that that's an important part of leadership. And so naming that, I also think it's incredibly important then that as a leader, you walk away from your position of power in an organization in a way that is sustainable, that transfers knowledge, vision, commitment, excellence to those left behind. All too often, particularly in the work that I've done with nonprofits, I didn't say this before, but I used to represent nonprofits. I am an attorney. I don't practice. Right now, I mostly sit in this consulting space and really help organizations think about how they're developing their leadership trajectory and how they're planning for their future success. But when I was representing nonprofits, what I would find is that when the founder left, things kind of fell apart in the organization. A lot of times because there wasn't a clear plan for the founder leaving. Maybe the board was surprised. And, I should say this, the founder or the board chair, two very important roles in nonprofits. But anytime you have someone in a key role transition, it can leave your organization vulnerable. And especially so if you don't have a succession plan or leadership development plan that you already have in place that you can move forward. And I will tell you that the overwhelming majority of nonprofit organizations, social impact organizations, don't have a succession plan, which means that your organization is literally at risk if someone, a key person, were to move on to do something else. And so, particularly for those of you who are board chairs, board governance, board members, or those who need to aspire, I always want to make sure that you know and understand that it is your responsibility as a board member to ensure that the organization is operating and moving forward and is able to continue to have the success and the impact that it's having. And all too often, people sort of delegate or abdicate that role just to the executive director or the founder, kind of like it's your thing. And then the problem is that if that founder or executive director or key leadership person leaves, then everyone's left trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what's going on. And as a board member, you are responsible for that organization. There is a fiduciary duty that comes along with being a board member. And I think it's a powerful and important duty, especially for all of our 501c3 tax-exempt organizations, because you have a tremendous privilege that in this capitalist society that everything runs on taxes, that you are allowed to not pay federal income tax. Like, that's a huge deal. It's a huge responsibility. So if you are on a board or you're looking to get on a board, I want you to sit and wrestle with the importance of this and why it's so important that you are paying attention and making sure that your organization is planning for disruption. And disruption doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be positive, it can be negative, but change happens. It's happening more rapidly. If you're in the talent development space, you know that we are in a unique talent war where people are making decisions every day to move into opportunities that better serve them. And if you are looking to retain talent, you have to have more than just money and good culture and benefits. People want to feel like they are connected and bought into the vision, that they are a part of what they are creating, and that there is an opportunity for them to advance. And so those are all things that a succession plan, when crafted correctly, can ensure that your organization has. It has a plan for every single person in the space around how they will grow and what opportunities are available to them either within your organization or outside of your organization. But as the leader, how are you going to make sure that your impact lives on beyond the time that you are the leader? I have 5 things that I think is really important that you need to think about around creating your legacy as a leader and really making sure that you're doing the things each day to ensure that when you are no longer in a position to call all the shots, that the right shots continue to be called in your absence. And so first, if we're building a legacy as a leader and we're ensuring that that's going to survive beyond your tenure, you need to make sure that your vision is so clear and compelling that other people are moved and motivated by it without you. Everyone in your organization should understand the vision. They should be inspired by the vision. They should be motivated to expand on that vision. If you're the only one that holds the vision, or there's a lack of clarity around the vision for the organization, one, it'll be really difficult to make a lot of tough decisions that will come as you are running an organization. And two, it'll be hard for people who come behind you to know where you want the organization to go, or to even expand on and maximize that vision that you have. So first, it's incredibly important that you are clear about the vision, and it is compelling, and that you are making sure that you and your organization, your team, your staff, your volunteers, your board members, the community understands the vision behind your organization. The second thing that you need to do to ensure your impact survives your tenure is be clear about the culture that you are establishing at your organization. And I'm going to tell you this, whether you think culture matters or not, the data is very clear that it does. Whether you are defining your culture yourself or not, there is a culture that's being created. And as a leader, you want to make sure that you are designing the culture that you want to have. And so if it's a culture of excellence and integrity, inclusiveness, accountability, your values, all of those things should be reflected in how you externally market yourself to stakeholders, and more importantly, how you engage with folks internally within your organization. I have worked in nonprofits. I have, like I mentioned, represented nonprofits, consulted with nonprofits. And one of the worst things that you could hear is people that work for you saying things about your organization that are antithetical to what you are putting out there to the community. So if you're supposed to be an inclusive space, but people of color can't find any respite and no safety in your organization, that is a huge red flag, right? If you are here to be expanding access and impact for others, and those who work with you have really poor wages, the working conditions are horrible, they're being berated, there's a disconnect there. So whatever you're branding and marketing to yourself externally, about your organization externally, should be true internally. I've always said charity begins at home. The way that you treat your home team, those who are in the trenches with you, will be one of the greatest drivers of indicators of your organization's success. And I think what's also super important when you're in a business where goodwill matters is that those who work with you have good things to say about your organization, whether they're with you forever or for a short period of time. So you want to make sure that you're managing and establishing the right culture for your organization. 3, if you want to make sure that you're leaving an impact, that your impact will survive your tenure, you want to make sure that you are thinking innovatively around how you are designing for progress. And I think in addition to that innovation around how you're designing for progress, I truly believe you need to leave a blueprint. Too often, we as leaders hold all of the knowledge in our head, and we don't share enough information with people around us. And sometimes that's because of fear. People don't want others to know as much of them out of fear that they'll be replaced or ousted or whatever. And I think that kind of goes back to hiring decisions and your clarity around your brand and your values, around who you bring in and who you allow into your space. And I will say that if you don't trust the people that you work around, that is a huge, huge red flag and something you want to address immediately. But I think it's important that you're creating a blueprint and that you're asking for feedback and buy-in from those around you to help shape it. 2 heads are truly better than one. And so people who have different perspectives, experiences, can help to refine your process to success and ensure that that impact that you're making is not just, long, but also deep. And so you want to make sure that you have an environment where you're encouraging creativity and innovation, where you're promoting continuous improvement of yourself and others, and you're investing in that. Change is an investment. Innovation is an investment. These are not things that are free, and so you have to be committed to putting the time and the treasure behind it to make sure that it actually superpowers your organization. And then the other thing that you need to be doing is really figuring out what are your tangible results. What are your key metrics? What is it that you want people to know you for and having have accomplished? Those clarity around that, around what impact looks like for your organization, will ensure that anyone coming behind will be clear on what it is that we're actually trying to do. And the fifth and final thing that is so important for leaving your legacy and ensuring that their impact survives beyond you is people. Developing and pouring into the people who are co-laboring in this work. And that doesn't just mean your paid staff. Those are your stakeholders, the communities and causes that you support. Those are your volunteers. Those are, your colleagues in and around the space. I didn't understand this when I first came into the work world, how important relationships truly are, but they literally make the world go round. And so if you are not investing in the people around you, you are doing a huge disservice to them and yourself. And so you want to make sure that you are putting the time into developing and empowering future leaders. I love to say here at Ibani Song and the Lead Audaciously brand that leaders create leaders. It is our job. As a leader, you are in the business of building future leaders. I always tell my staff, you lead at every level. Not everyone has the title of leader, but everybody can be a leader in the area in which they are working. And so those are my 5 areas that you need to focus on to ensure that your impact survives your tenure. And again, quickly, that's you need to have a strong impact that's clear, compelling, and shared with your team, bought into. Your team is inspired and motivated by it, and it's not just some statement that we read from time to time, but something that people can grasp into and align with their purpose and their values. You need to develop a culture that aligns with your values as a leader and the values that your organization purports to hold. You need to invest in innovation, encourage creativity, promote continuous learning, and adopt new approaches that assist with problem solving. You need to be clear about what your impact is and actually have tangible results and know what those results are that you are driving towards. Beyond just changing the world, what does that look like for your organization? And then fifth and final, you have to invest in people and relationships because you're in the business of building future leaders. And so I hope those 5 tips were helpful for you around how you can ensure that your powerful impact survives your tenure. And I would love to invite you also to join us next Tuesday, or actually this coming Tuesday, April 18th from 7 to 8:30 p.m., where we're actually talking about how you can leverage the tool of writing and books to do just this, to leave a legacy, to pen the pathway to progress that others can pick up, read, and move the work forward. And so we are gathering together for a courageous conversation around just that, how we stand up, speak out, and write about how we have gotten to where we are. And I believe that writing is a very powerful tool that can be used to engage and inspire the masses. And it is a great tool to increase your income, your influence, and your impact. And so I would hope for you to join us. You can check the link in my bio and get in the Zoom room with us as we discuss the power of writing to preserve our legacy. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday.